Hello, my creative collective. This is Into the Infinite. I'm Charlie, and I'm so glad that you're here. So I am super excited to do this. These are your Libra Full Moon readings, my darlings, my creative collective. So let's dive in. Let's do it, shall we? So I would like to invite the angels, my guardian angels, my spirit guides, protectors, teachers, and their healing energy to this space. And I ask that it is a safe and brave space that allows for the fullest expression of our light, humanity, ascension, and healing. All right, let's dig in. So I'm using the black and gold tarot to kick off the reading, and then I'm going to clarify with the traditional Rider-Waite. So, I mean, they're both the Rider-Waite, but this one's shiny. So, all right, thank you so much, Spirit. And I'm going to do it this way because they're starting to bend a little bit. Perfect, thank you so much, Spirit. Whoa, whoa, whoa. King of Pentacles. Starting out strong, I think. Eight of Swords. Dang. Wow. Okay. Well, isn't that just lovely, Aries? Okay, so we have the King of Pentacles. So I'm getting this as sort of, I'm getting this as a bit of this is your energy. Like this is the energy you're coming into this reading with and into the Libra full moon with. So stability, you're understanding what's important to you. There's almost an ease with which you move through the world regarding what you need, right? You're aware of how to get what you need and also how to get shit done. So I think that's a big deal for you as well. And then the Eight of Swords here is showing up. And I almost get that this is sort of the doubt bubbling beneath the surface that needs to come into balance, right? There's almost this doubt like these cards here are telling me the story of, so we have the King of Pentacles, the Seven of Swords, and then also the Seven of Pentacles. Now, what I'm hearing here is this story of willpower versus willingness. Willpower versus willingness. Whoops, the Seven of Pentacles, these are all pentacle energy, but it's almost like there's so much effort that you're putting into it and it's making you doubt some. It's making you, I'm going to see if I can hold this up without the shine. There we go. There's like willpower versus willingness at work here. And I think it's kind of throwing you out of balance. And this full moon to me is about coming back into balance and releasing what isn't working. And not just what isn't working in terms of like, let's just, throw all the things out that aren't making us happy, because that's really, it's not the most, and I don't want to say mature, but it doesn't serve your energy to look at it in that way, to look at it in such a black and white way, when the reality is so much more nuanced, right? It's where the nuance is where we honor ourselves. And I think you're not giving yourself the benefit of the doubt here in terms of not just your ability, but I think that there's this like trust in the universe capacity. There's this trust that's missing. And I think balance for you, this full moon, Aries, is really going to be about willpower versus willingness, and sort of renegotiating the terms with which you, I guess, engage with your creations. Like what went through my head was career, right? So I see the King of Pentacles here as understanding how to get things done and to work smarter, not harder, right? I'm learning this with this channel and some of the videos that I've been doing, and how long some of them, I just end up rolling with them because I'm so excited, right? But there's a way to do it that still connects to spirit and gives wisdom. And what I'm getting here for you is it's almost like balancing. I don't even know where this is coming from. Okay. So I'm getting this for you, Aries, that there's like balancing objectivity and subjectivity. And that's sort of a renegotiation of energy, right? So subjectivity is blasting forward with movement and energy. This is not necessarily blasting forward, but you put so much time into it. And you're like, well, where's my stuff? And that's sort of like you're in the subjective place, and it's balancing that subjective view versus this kind of objective big picture view where you're able to see and pull back and see all these different timelines or the way that something might go. But there's also this way that you can get caught in ego in doing that. And caught in ego just meaning that you find yourself, I'm hearing blame. You're blaming yourself, or there's a way that you're kind of caught up in guilt. These two cards together strike me as particularly guilt, not guilty, but just guilt, a way that we kind of, like something that we spend a lot of time on, but that kind of traps us in the end. And I don't know why I'm reading that off of here, but freedom from guilt in a way, letting ourselves off the hook and releasing ourselves from these constructs these mental constructs that we've created. Like sometimes we create hoops that we have to jump through to really return ourselves to this state of innocence. And the Seven of Pentacles to me is about that subjective view where you're kind of being really hard on yourself. You're being hard on yourself because you've put so much time. You think you know, and subjectivity can do that to us in terms of ego and things that we're putting in the world where we think we know because we look at how much time we've invested into it. And this can be looking at something like, oh, I wish I didn't do that. Or, oh, that's, we sink into regret. But like, what is regret actually? What is it? Right? Regret is telling us that there's meaning around us and afoot, but you couldn't see how something else would play out because there's so many different factors involved and like there's so much at work. Like it's really, so we get wound and bound by guilt. And then we sort of deny ourselves the fullness of this King of Pentacles energy, which is knowing ourselves in a well-established way that is even-footed, that is sure-footed, that is stable, and not just stable about, stable in terms of being unflappable, I'm hearing, but stable in terms of the expectations that we have of other people, because those things start with ourselves. So if we're in this subjective versus objective view, and then this sort of objective pullback and seeing the bigger picture, if we're not in this energy, it's really hard for us to connect with people in a way that's authentic and true to ourselves. Because I think it's sort of like the shadow I'm getting here is showing up as kind of like this Five of Swords vibe. So I don't know if that will come out, but this Five of Swords vibe is like release. Like I think we need to release this because of how it impacts us, where we think we're taking because we've put all this time and effort into something, be it a project, work, friendships, relationships, even sometimes just like events, like putting together events or putting on events. Right? I mean, before the pandemic, there would be times where I would plan something with friends and it would just take forever to do. And then by the time it came around, I was like, oh, I don't even want to go. I'm so tired. And there would be nothing wrong with that. I mean, I still enjoy seeing friends and whatnot. But it's just this idea that I'm getting here that willpower and willingness need to come back into balance, because willingness is sort of the container through which spirit speaks to you, right? Willingness. You don't have to know. It's not a knowingness. It's not a certainty or a surety. It is a willingness, right? So that's where this King of Pentacles comes in, where this to me is more like willingness, because the King of Pentacles has seen a lot, right? You don't become a king without much experience. At least this is how we perceive it to be, though we know that that's not always true, historically speaking. But I think of a king, and I think of in this energy as being, especially pentacle energy, which is value and need and groundedness. I think of this in terms of a king that's been around long enough to know what's up for others and themselves as well, right? They are able to take that objective view and pull back and see the wisdom in the bigger picture. Whereas this subjectivity is also this is willpower to me. Objectivity is willingness, right? I'm willing to be objective. I'm willing to admit that I don't know. And then the willingness becomes allowing, right? So it's sort of this transitional energy. And that's where I get this Ace of Swords and Strength card, is sort of the marrying of your truth and willpower and willingness becoming allowing and accepting in a way that brings things forward and gives you a sense of strength and courage, right? That's where your courage may be coming from, to do something, to say something. It could be here, what I'm reading off of this is that you're stepping into that truth and you're running with it in this full moon. And that's really what you're releasing, is this sort of split right here. And you're just letting these these patterns go, right? You're deciding, you're making the conscious decision to, step into the truth of where your strength comes from. It's not from willingness, or it's not from willpower. It's not from action, nor is it from beating yourself up and being in guilt. It is from a combination of all of those things, but in a different form, right? So it changes forms. So it's it sort of changes shape because the container itself has changed. So the container that spirit, that's where spirit finds you, is the container that you make. So I get the impression that you're making this different container, and spirit can fill it with much greater ease because you've made it bigger and you've allowed it to expand, because you're in this sort of willingness that becomes allowing. You're allowing 11:11 on the time. Even if you don't know for sure, you're at least allowing. Why? Because you're willing, right? Willpower is a kind of 5 of Swords controlling energy, right? It's a I know better energy, even if you don't. And like, I was in my 20s too. Like, I spent a lot of my early 20s being like, I know. And now I'm like, oh, no clue. But here are the things that I can count on within myself. And I think that that's where, and that's not definitive. Like, there are certain ways that I question myself, and sometimes I do feel like I know. And then I get to the end of something and I'm like, oh, this is just the beginning. So it doesn't change, right? That's an ever unfolding thing in life. But what I'm getting here is this idea that the container that spirit is speaking to you through has changed, and you're allowing it now. This Ace of Swords is the allowing of that. Okay, spirit, can I get some clarification? That's a lot of messages so far. I'm not complaining. Spirit, can I get some messages here for my creative collective Aries for the Libra full moon, please? Whoa. Yeah, a little bit, just a smidge defensive. Just a little bit. This is about trusting a little bit more. And then this is Aries. So this is, it could be something that relates to the season, but this could also be you stepping into and integrating that strength energy, right? That Leo energy, fire energy into the Emperor, where you're integrating the King of Pentacles and sort of adding the lessons from this objectivity to your belt. I'm hearing like to your belt, and then it becomes an experience that no one can take that from you, right? Like, I read a quote recently that was talking about how you need to build things that people can't take from you, like character, integrity, and it's not that we want to defend, because the moment that we start defending, that's an attack, right? We know this from A Course in Miracles. 13:13 was just on the time. But this to me says that there's a way that you're adding this to your repertoire of ways that you can see. Spirit, can I get some clarification on this 8 of Swords here, please, and thank you. Queen of Wands, yeah. This is, to me, Justice was on the bottom. To me, this is really about you understanding and moving towards what you want you're no longer questioning yourself and what's important to you. Because, integrating the lessons of the King of Pentacles and a little bit of this Justice card in Libra, you're no longer, I just heard chomping at the bit. Okay. The Devil card, chomping at the bit. That's where this willpower versus willingness, right? It's almost like the universe rewards you. It rewards you in a way for understanding more of what you want and integrating that into where you're headed, this willpower and willingness, right? I don't know why that's such a theme for you this month, Aries. Chomping at the bit, though. Spirit, can you clarify this 7 of Pentacles, please, in this willpower, willingness, how this relates for Aries for the Libra full moon and balancing? The Star, a lot of healing energy. 4 of Cups, interesting. I think that this is sort of where that need for willpower started, is sort of with you it makes this like self-doubt self-doubt. The star here tells me that this is something that you're moving past. But what I'm getting largely is that the Seven of Pentacles communicates to me. The Seven of Pentacles communicates to me that that's like a willpower, right? Willpower, and that it sort of starts with this. I'm almost getting you in this Emperor energy now. So this is almost like an inner child version, like a petulant child that we're needing to respond to and remind that it will be okay, and that they don't have to control everything because they felt at some point that they just needed to. And I can fall into that habit too, right? Like if one of the things that I had to work on a lot in my 20s was the idea that if I only did X, Y, and Z thing, then, if I did ABC, then X, Y, and Z, really harmful, like violence or things like that wouldn't have happened. So we start to negotiate with ourselves, and we make the container for spirit much smaller. Because that's how we're treating ourselves, as we shrink ourselves in those moments. And that's where this strength card is saying, no, stand up, rise, right? Phoenix from the ashes, rise. And I think that's where you're kind of integrating the ego. This is almost like the egoic, the egoic shadow running the show of the emperor, being like, I'm bored. And when you get bored, it's not about boredom in terms of I don't know what to do and I'm dissatisfied with the doing. This is more you being energetically bored and looking at the three cups and being like, ugh, I'm over it. I'm over it. When really, like, it doesn't look like this person is very hard done to, right? They have enough about them. They have three cups. That's a chunk of emotional fulfillment, because some people don't have that, right? And then you have the fourth cup coming to you, and it's this unwillingness to see it, which kind of strikes me as this energy too, right? So it's almost like unwilling to take the bigger picture because you're so focused, willpower, focused on these three cups. And it can throw your defenses around, right? Like it can get them twisted around and make you not trust the bigger picture because you feel like it contains less information. But just because there are three cups in your view and only one in the bigger picture doesn't mean that quantity is quality, right? Does not mean that quantity is quality. Remember that. So, but again, the star here is telling me that you're healing this and you're moving through it. So are we worried? Not so much. I mean, I'm not. I feel like you're moving through this quite beautifully this month. This full moon Libra. The Libra full moon. You are Aries. Good Lord. Oh my goodness. Okay, so then we have the Ace of Swords and the Strength card here. So again, this is about you standing in your truth and standing in your power, right? Truth and power, authenticity. That's what the equation is. Truth and power. Where do you get your power from? Is it from the container that you're letting grow, that spirit fills and gives you information, right? I did an Akashic session for myself yesterday, and the stuff that came through was incredible. And I just thought, one of the things that came through in that for me was that I need to do this it wasn't that I wasn't doing it on a regular basis, but there has to be a commitment to the same time and place to really, and the word that the keepers of the records that I spoke to talked about was acclimating to energy. And I feel like this is what this is where you may need to be doing that, is like acclimating to the energy. Because if it moves too fast, it throws you way out of balance. And that's not the point, right? The point is to make it so that you can meet it face to face and really heal. And not just heal yourself, but healing others. Because if it's not for others, what is it for, right? Like, I mean, we can heal ourselves and we can use all of this knowledge for ourselves, but I just feel like it's so much better suited for others too. And that's where really if you have a large container, it's about showing others that the container can change for themselves as well if they want, right? And not always, but yeah, it's about showing other people that the container can change. Ace of Pentacles, Nine of Cups. Spirit, can you clarify this Ace of Swords and Strength card, please? Ace of Pentacles. I get that this is more so what you're offering other people, Aries. And this could be the way that you show up at work. This could be the way that you show up in relationships. This could be the way that you show up with friends. The way you offer of your energy, literal projects that you're working on, literal contracts that you're offering to other people. Six of Swords. Yeah, I get the Six of Swords is like willingness. The Six of Swords, yeah, new contracts much? um, I get the Six of Swords. So I think of the Five of Swords. I said that that's sort of how this shadow is showing up, right? Four of Cups, Five of Swords. That it represents stuck energy, but most importantly, the Six of Swords in this instance to me represents willingness, because it's a willingness not just to walk away, not just to move on, but it's a willingness to put down your defenses such that you don't show up in defense mode. Like, you're not showing up ready for a fight. You're showing up more in the energy of, okay, if this doesn't work, I am willing to move forward, understanding why it did not, but I am not so stuck on this one specific thing that I can't move forward, that I can't move on, that I can't move. It's a moving energy that you want. This could also be literal moving that you're doing. It could be literal moving. It could be that your, new contract could be a new lease, could be a new mortgage. I mean, given this energy of the Pentacles, Six of Swords, and the Four of Swords, that could be the case for some people. But what I'm really seeing here is that it's opening you up to an energy that, like, this is sort of like the 3D manifestation of the 5D work that you've been doing at a spiritual and a deep level with spirit, right? This is the manifestation of it. New offers, Ace of Pentacles, Six of Swords. You're moving away from what doesn't work anymore. And that's sort of a response, right? That is a response, but it's taking responsibility, right? This isn't walking away in like that Five of Swords, like, ugh, I totally like, oof, win at all costs. The Six of Swords to me is sort of in this energy and moving away that is informed by what you want, not, moving away based on what you don't. Right? It's this awareness of what you do want and what is important to you, because you're standing in your power and your truth. And that kind of makes you a little bit unstoppable right now, right? So while there is a release, Aries, there is a release. This Six of Swords is a release, but I think it's a release of the things that make sense and not like a tearing away of something. This is the energy, the release that you may be experiencing right now is one of understanding what's most important and moving away from that and towards what's truly important. The Four of Wands can be the 1111 card in the deck, which can represent 222 is just on the time. Well, 2222 was on the time. This can represent twin flame, connections. What this also represents to me is, sort of some long-term contracts coming in. This is also technically the marriage card. So, I mean, it could be that there's an offer. It could be that when you do this and you step into your truth, it's sort of like all of these pieces click, and it's not like someone's going to be banging down your door to ask you to marry them. But I think that there's a way that it opens you up to long-term relationships and commitment that you may not have been open to before because of this guilt, right? When we're constantly guilty for something, nothing can really get in, because, I think about that container, right, Aries? So this container, if it's full, and if it's full of things that say, I am the worst human being for this, I, don't deserve. And when we say we don't deserve, sometimes it's because of worth, but then other times it's because of things that we have interpreted or taken on from what other people have said is true about us, which is kind of harsh for us, right? Like, would you do that to a kid? Would you punish a child like that? Then why would you take it out on yourself, right? Why would you take old energy out on yourself or mistakes out on yourself like that? It doesn't serve you, my darling. It doesn't. So I think this is really what that's about here, is moving away from and welcoming in things that do honor you, that are long-term and structured well, Yeah. I don't know why this could be for an Aries. The song Piece by Piece just came to mind. The version, it was a Kelly Clarkson, but performing on American Idol. The line that stood out, and if this is true for anybody, I am holding you in my heart right now. But the line was, piece by piece, he restored my faith. Then the other one was, piece by piece, I fell far from the tree. I will never leave her like you left me. Oof. And that's where like these lines are coming through. And I just thought of what came to mind when that kind of went into my head was the Eight of Swords. So I don't know if that's something that you did to someone else, or if that's something that someone did to you that made you feel like you weren't worth it. Right? Because the whole premise of the song, Kelly Clarkson wrote it about her dad and how he kind of left the family dynamic and did a lot of harm to her, you know, and that idea of her standing there at the airport saying like, you know, I didn't have anything you needed. So you left, and I was worthless to you because I didn't have anything to offer. But now that I do have something to offer, you're back, of course. And that's that idea of guilt. And it's almost like it could be a dynamic with how you're seeing yourself, Aries. I don't know how that, I'm unsure of that popping up here in this way. Yeah. But this Eight of Swords, I'm definitely seeing as like, is guilt, right? And I think that it's sort of a self-imposed prison. It's a self-imposed imprisonment. Because you lock away part of yourself when you feel guilty all the time. This reading is getting long again. I have a gift for these. Oh my gosh. I'm not upset at all. I love it. But here I am being like, I'm going to be more economical with time. And then I'm like, nope, here's all the info. This is all the guidance. But what I will do is I will pull from the Miracles Now deck by Gabby Bernstein, just to kind of cap this reading off for you, Aries, and then we'll dive into the other signs. But Spirit, can I get some clarity for Aries just to round out this reading and give some guidance for this Libra full moon, please? And thank you so much. I don't need to find my purpose. My purpose will find me. Willpower versus a willingness. So, and you know what I'm going to do? So this is a bit of an older deck, but it's the Power of Intention deck by Wayne Dyer. I've had this since 2004, and I dug it out the other night. And I've used it occasionally, but not in these readings. So I thought, you know what? It's time. It's time. Spirit, can I get a message for Aries for this Libra full moon, please? And thank you so much. Whoa. Monitor your inner dialogue. Recognize that what you think about expands. Monitor your inner dialogue and match your thoughts to what you want and what you intend to create. Yeah. I think that's another, it's a bit instructional for you, Aries. I think this energy here is you don't need to do a whole lot. Your purpose is going to find you. You just have to be on the path. And that's, I had to learn that myself. And I still am. There are probably still things that are going to come and blow my mind, right? That's learning and expansion, and it's terrifying and exciting and wonderful. Only for a second. Terrifying just in the same sense as like you get onto a roller coaster and you know what's coming, but you know you're safe, right? Monitor your inner dialogue. So I think this is where that guilt is coming from. You need to let yourself off the hook. So Aries, that might be what I titled this reading. But if this resonated for you, I would love it if you liked and subscribed. That would help me to grow the channel and to continue to do this, which I love. And I also I'm super humbled at the ability to do it. So thank you so much for your eyes and your time. There are other ways to connect with me throughout the month. So do check out the rest of the videos on the channel. But if this is where we part, Aries, I do hope that you have a wonderful full moon. Take care. Bye.